All right, I'm still, again, I'm dumb enough to think that Jay will scheme up something that will move the chains and we'll find a way to score some points. I don't know. Maybe it won't be a touchdown, maybe a couple field goals. I don't know, to get going. And then it's all going to come down to the defense making stops, getting off the field on third down. Can Jonathan Allen be the difference defensively?
He can be a huge help at the very least. I don't know what his snap count's going to be like tonight, but every snap he plays is one less than one of those other guys who's not nearly as good is going to play. It's another snap that Tim Settle can be a rotation player as opposed to a starter. And so those kinds of things are huge. And then hopefully John is John in the snaps that he plays, and he's not compromised. And I think even from a leadership and an attitude standpoint, he moves the needle for them. So I don't know I have no idea what to expect tonight defensively for them, because I have no idea what to expect from the Bears offense. They are, again, really dangerous, but as long as you stay on your toes and you don't get fooled by all the window dressing, they're not that hard to defend. But they do have good personnel. And we'll see from an offensive line standpoint, too. Like, Kyle Long's questionable for this game. And if he doesn't go, you're now going against at least one backup offensive lineman. He's probably their best offensive lineman. And let's see if this Redskins defensive front, who has been terrible through 2 weeks, was terrible as a result of going against Hall of Fame caliber offensive lines, or are they actually not nearly as good as we thought? So this is a very telling game to me on that side of the ball. You either get right and show that you're a lot better or a lot closer to what we thought they'd be, or you put up another performance like you had the last 2 weeks and you're probably getting coached by different people.
Craig, even though Trubisky is shifty, can move a little bit with his feet, he was sacked 5 times by the Packers in the opener. Can the Redskins somehow manage 2 sacks against him tonight? You mentioned the fact that one of their key offensive linemen isn't going to go. Can they get after him twice?
Do you think they'll be more exotic this
I
week?
don't necessarily think they'll be more exotic. I just think the task gets easier. Like, they've got to win one-on-one. I mean, at some point, you have to be able to get home with a 4-man rush, especially when your 4-men rushing are all first-round picks. Like, if you're going to be a nickel like they are a lot, and you got 4 down linemen, it's Kerrigan, first-rounder, perennial Pro Bowler, double-digit sack guy. Montez Sweat, first-rounder who you drafted to be a sack artist. And then Payne and Allen in the middle, who are 2 first-round picks, both of whom are good pass rushers for defensive tackles. Win. Just
win your battles.
We couldn't have overrated this defense this much, right? I mean, they're about 30th in the league or something like that.
Yeah,
people thought potentially top 10. Some even were throwing out top 5. We couldn't have overestimated this much. They have to be better than this.
For sure. And that's the thing is, at some point, it's not about scheme. Like, if you want to get really cliche, it's not about the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. Like, at some point, you have to kick the guy's butt in front of you. And Jonathan Allen is very fond of saying that. Like, sometimes football is just about whipping ass. And, like, they've got to go out and they've got to beat the guy in front of them. And, sure, they could draw up more stuff. They could, have Landon Collins blitz more, Monte Nicholson blitz more. And I think you have to do some of that. I think Monte's actually a pretty good blitzer. I think he times stuff up well. He's big. He's athletic. He's a pain in the butt to deal with if you're an offensive lineman trying to pick him up because he's shifty. Like, there are things you can do, but also, your linebackers have tried to blitz and they've been terrible at it. So at some point, you just play your coverages. You execute, and that's what you're going to do to be effective. And so they've got to just, with that front 4 or front 5, if they're in base, get home, win your one-on-ones. I think that is the step one, because you can draw up a blitz, but if you don't execute it and guys are just running into each other, then that just takes guys out of coverage and you're not getting home anyway. Trubisky will hold it. You can confuse him a little bit, and then he's also a guy that you have to be disciplined with. Like, if you get out of your rush lanes like they have against Dak and Wentz, like, he'll get out of the pocket and he might not kill you with his arm like Wentz did, but he'll run, and some of those things where you all of a sudden have a third down stop, you give one up on the ground, and that's debilitating for a defense.
That's interesting that you talked about being coached by different guys. We had Charlie Cashley on in 620, and I asked him that. I said, look, if the Bears go out there and look, 500% better than they have in the last 2 weeks, and they roll up offensively, make a move. Would Jay make a move? He said no.
Well, that's for him.
Yeah,
because
he
it's
said
for him.
He said he wouldn't. He says it's not about that.
Did he give a reason why you wouldn't?
Well, he just doesn't believe in
He
that
doesn't
kind of
believe in the
thing.
talent. He basically says it's the talent. And
But it's far overhyped.
But I think that you might just have to make a statement. I'm not in the business of firing guys either, but If it's a trend where they're
it's a results-oriented business.
Correct. And if it's a trend that they're not going to bring guys and they're not going to switch up their scheme, they're not going to put pressure on Trubisky, and they go and do whatever they want, I would think that Jay has to make some sort of a move, but maybe not.
Yeah, it's about reaching guys. And I think Jay, after the game last week, was really interesting because he said, like, clearly we're not reaching them.
See, that's laying the foundation to whack somebody.
Well, and then I asked about it on Monday. It's like, well, what can you do better to reach them? He's like, I think we're reaching them just fine. So he backed off of it. But it's like,
he always does.
I think in the truth serum is not a real ball's the closest thing we have, and Jay's not drunk after a game, but the emotion he has after a game's pretty darn close. Like, he, in the heat of the moment after the game, has a habit of saying exactly what he feels, which I appreciate as someone who is trying to get to the truth of the matter on all of these things. And I think that's a real thing. I think he feels like this defensive coaching staff is not getting through the things they need to get through, because I think he does believe in the talent. I think he knows they have good defensive players, and clearly they are not doing what they need to do to put them in good positions to succeed, or they are not getting through to them to execute the things they need to execute to succeed. And if that's the case, then you have to make a change. And I'm not ever going to call for someone's job. But the job is what it is. Like, it's hard, and the job is to get guys to succeed. And if they're not getting someone to succeed, it would make sense that the logical next step is to ask someone else to get them to succeed. I think that becomes an interesting question of who that person is. Is it Ray Horton? Is it Rob Ryan? I think there's personnel dynamics you have to think about, too. If you really like Tom Sula, do you want to get rid of Minuski? Because those two are super tight. Tom is out there kicking butt either. So I don't know what the play would be. I think if they give up 30 to a Bears defense that has scored one passing touchdown all year, like, that would be an issue. But we'll see what happens at some point. And it's also like the realism that they almost fired him this offseason. Like, how much leash do you have when you were in the meetings to find your replacement in January?
I know we got to let you go. Are the players pissed off?
Yeah, I wouldn't say at the coaches, though. Like, they're mad at themselves.
Like, they should be livid.
Yeah, no, they are. Like, these guys care. Like, if you want to say one thing about this team, and I would say about the coaching staff too, it's not like they don't care. This isn't a team and an organization that doesn't care about winning. They've just been bad at it through 2 weeks. They have not executed to the level they expect themselves to. And when you talk to a guy like John Bostic, he'll tell you the coaches are doing just fine. It's not like these guys are throwing the coaches under the bus. It's not like the coaches, or they think the coaches haven't given them a good plan. The players are pissed that they have not executed the things that they need to, that they have done dumb stuff, that they have gotten out, not executed their assignments. They haven't had the communication. They have gotten got by their own doing. They've been slow to react to things. They haven't lined up on time, which has caused checks to be late, which has caused coverage to be blown. Like, these are things the players control, and ultimately they are mad about it.